Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. You know, unfortunately, the majority of the world today lets their future be hindered by fear, particularly fear of the unknown or fear of change. In today's business world, change is not only necessary, but vital, especially with keeping up with advancements in technology. Sometimes when people have a good idea, they wait for all of the how they're going to do it before they get started. And the problem with that is by the time we collect all of the how, we need a new how. So the trick is to get started. And tonight we're going to be talking with a very special guest who not only got started, but started working when he was 3 months old. We're going to be talking with very successful entrepreneur and marketing professional, Jim Parr's on the show. Jim is the president and founder of Paar Media Group. And you think I'm kidding, but this guy is absolutely amazing. Started when he was a baby. We're going to tell you how in just a minute. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We have an amazing show. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in. I'm here with my dear friend, Ian Norris. Ian, how have you been, my friend? I'm
fabulous. How are you?
Fabulous. I'm fabulous, and just the way you say fabulous is very fabulous.
You're very flattering with my fabulous.
I'm infatuated with your accent, but how have you been? You been busy?
Yes, very busy. Working with Amy and doing a lot of things and learning a lot as I go, so yes, very busy.
I know your wife is curious enough to once in a while drop by. I mean, just a real mover and shaker. She's #1 in real estate everywhere, and I know she has a whole team that she gives credit to as well. But I know you guys are very busy, and not only do you work full time, but you're also a pilot.
Yeah,
we've been up a few times.
Still working on building my hours for that next certificate.
Yeah.
So, yeah, trying to do that as much as I can.
I have to say, I don't know if you were testing my fear or whatever, but we went up in a plane. And I think he was saying, like, this guy Dan thinks, he said, let's see what kind of a... So we're up in the air, and then he just basically said, okay, well, it's your plane. And I was surprised how easily you can get disoriented. I'm not good with directions anyways, but, I mean, one little turn, the whole plane was like... So I was glad that all the gauges and, oh...
You'll be interested to know that the tables were turned on me last Friday. I was supposed to take that same plane over to Dauphin Island for some business that Amy and I had to do. Plane was grounded for some maintenance. I ended up going in a much more advanced and faster aircraft with a whole different glass cockpit.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now I was trying to get used to the immediate response of this.
Yeah, right.
Thing. It was bizarre for me.
Well, I'm really glad to hear that. For some weird reason, I actually feel happy about that. But that's terrible, isn't it? But all the gauges and the things you have to check, and I'm not sure if I would be able to want to take something on like that on my own. I like challenges, but I just don't know if being up alone in the plane would be for me. But I was very fortunate to have you there.
Well, I'd love to take you again, given the opportunity.
Well, and you know, the guest tonight, speaking of gauges and technology, you know, I'm really excited about having on because, and we were talking a little bit about this backstage about change in the business world, but you know, things are so fast in business, it's hard to keep up. And you know, that old adage of like, don't fix what's not broken. And over the years of coaching, I've coached so many entrepreneurs that, you know, had that mindset of like, don't fix what's not broken. These are the programs that made me a millionaire. These are the programs that got me where I'm going. And that's true at one aspect, but a lot of times the world, over a period of a few years, changes so much that those programs that we're working become very ineffective. And then all of a sudden, because of being in that paradigm, they don't change, and they lose all their fortune and they're out of business.
Yeah.
So.
And can I throw in something? I've been watching your show, and
well, thank you very much. We have one.
and something, you know, obviously it's a very entrepreneurially oriented show.
Yeah.
And I was reading something today I'd love to share with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you talk about motivations.
Talk about technology.
Yeah, you talk about motivations and
Right.
reasons for starting businesses, and I thought this was an interesting concept. If you don't mind, I'd like to just
No,
read
I'd
this.
love to hear you read.
It talked about, you know, we have reasons for starting a business, but sometimes it takes more than just an idea or a vision. And Planet Soho, which sells online management tools, they did a survey, and they found that for those that run small businesses, start and run small businesses, they found that the respondents reported that some of the reasons for getting into this entrepreneurial approach, doing something of their own,
Right.
was 61% love creating their own schedule to you.
Mm-hmm.
56% enjoy being their own boss. 46% say the main reason for them doing a small home business is because it's what they love.
Right.
And then it said 46% report having more time to spend with family and friends. 41% like not having to commute to work. 37% say that it helps them to sleep better. And 14% report having a better and more active love life. So if you ever wonder why, looking for reasons to start things, some of those may not necessarily be a good reason, but put together, it'll give you something to think about.
Well, for the entrepreneur that's been on the fence for so many years, better love life. That's the reason to start, if none else. Well, and again, I'm excited about our guests. Let's bring him out here. James Parr, everybody. Man, good to see you. James, thank you so much for joining us. I'm excited. As you know, we were talking about change, and I know that you're currently the president and founder of Paar Media Group, but let's talk a little bit about what you can offer business people out there in terms of services, what you can do for business people.
Absolutely. A lot of businesses, the things are changing so much, so rapidly, and if you're not up with technology these days, you're not going to be able to expand with that technology. A lot of this stuff is going mobile. It's going to iPads. It's going to tablets. Laptops are going away. And so if you're not able to reach those consumers with those tablets and mobile products, it's going to be real tough to keep your consumers in there.
Well, and you're so right. You know, just 3 to 6 months ago, my technology skills are not great, so we'll have to talk about that. But 3 to 6 months ago, I really embraced, like, okay, everybody's texting, I'm going to text. And I used to tell people, I'm not a texter, just call me. I want to have a conversation with you. I don't text. And I read an article about, I guess, a month or two ago that said that the world is so fast and people's attention spans have become so short because of the world we live in, that they could almost see that at one time, maybe even emails would become outdated because it's too much, it's too long. People want that short, quick text.
That's true.
And I actually read that 6 weeks ago, like not even 2 months ago. I thought, you know, that can't be true. In the last 6 weeks, I found myself saying, I don't even want to talk, man. I don't want to have to go in and type in my code to get into my voicemail. I just want them to text me with an answer. So it's unbelievable how fast things are.
That is true. That's why Twitter and the Facebooks are so successful. It's those short status messages. Right. They keep it within 140 characters, right. And that's really where it's going. And it's funny you say that because my wife, she'll text me and text back and forth, and she's a texter. And I'm not a texter really, but I adapt to it. And I'm like, I just want to pick up the phone and say,
honey, are we on for dinner or not?
Yes, absolutely. But you have to, and like you said, the short attention span, if you don't grab somebody, especially on a website or any marketing piece whatsoever, if you don't grab them, they say it's 7 seconds that you have, and sometimes less than that. If you can't grab their attention, you've already lost that customer. And for good.
You know, I've heard the same thing. In fact, I was talking with Sally Hogshead, who does marketing for Target and Coca-Cola and many of the big companies. She said the same thing, 7 seconds roughly. And she said that's basically like the attention span of a goldfish. So she's like, you have to think that we're dealing in the world of goldfish now.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something to think about. We're going to take a quick break, but when I come back, I want to talk a little bit about some of the services you provide, as well as where you think technology is going, because I think we're kind of at this place now where we're going to see some real changes. And I want to talk about what you think it'll mean for the small business owner. More with James Parr in a minute. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Thank you. Thank you. I'm here with James Parr, president and founder of Paar Media Group. And James, I was looking over this stuff today. We actually have quite a bit in common, not only kind of being serial entrepreneurs from a very young age. I will say you got started a little younger than I did. I think I was 18. But we were also both raised in the Southern Cal area.
Oh, yeah.
As a young boy, I was in Alhambra. I know that you have, and then we kind of grew up in San Gabriel Valley.
Right.
But,
and you probably hung out at Huntington Beach.
Oh,
and
Pier 3, all the girls. I was
Venice
thinking,
Beach,
Pier
yeah.
3, man.
Absolutely.
Well, to this day, when I get out there on business, I'll go to Southern Cal. The first thing I do when I land, I'm like, okay, driver, where's In-N-Out Burger, man? I need an animal-style double-double or some
That's
good
funny.
Mexican food. I mean, right when you get into town, that is an absolute must. Now, Paar Media Group, I know that the small business owner right now, obviously we're in a down economy, and I think that to every legitimate opportunity that's closing up for somebody, another one opens up. I don't think that the economy is necessarily bad, although many would disagree with me. I think that the economy is different. I think it's a changed world, and there's so many business owners that are stuck in a paradigm of like, well, this is the way we do it in our industry.
Yeah.
This is the way it's done in this world. And sometimes the new guy on the block that doesn't know the way it's done, and he doesn't have all those rigid paradigms, is the person that's really the visionary on the team that has these breakthroughs. What kind of services does Paar Media Group could offer, let's say, the small business owner?
We do a lot of, we'll take a vision, a company, an idea, and somebody that just doesn't know where to go with it, and we'll build that idea into a company, into an enterprise,
Right.
whatever they're looking for. It could be a small company to a big, large company. I was in the restaurant business myself. I've experienced a lot of different things and a lot of hurdles, you know, and
Sure.
and when you experience those failures, you understand that if you don't go ahead and just step out and just keep moving forward, you're going to fail, and you're going to let that beat up you. But when you talk about getting into that little niche or whatever, I hear it locally with different companies in this region. It's the charter fishing guy. He'll say, this guy just came on the block 2 months ago, and he's
not a threat.
he's number one on the search engines. I've been here for 20 years.
Right.
What's going on? They don't want to spend the money on marketing.
Right.
And that's where you have to be on the search engines. You have to have that niche, and it's not advertising in a small printed piece of material or a coupon or whatever. It's about being on the search engines. That's
right.
where it's going.
Well, and I read online that you do literally, it's like a 360-degree range of services, but when I really got into doing some research, you really are a 360-degree business, and like you said, you're one of the few companies that I've seen that actually gets involved in the vision stage and says, okay, man, why? What are you doing here? And then you help them frame out the vision, and then based on your business experience, you now say, well, look, I've already done this. Let's follow through with it, and let me show you how to, let's start. And as you know, we talked about this, you mentioned failure. So many people are so afraid to fail that that's a reason why they never get started. I kind of call it paralysis by overanalysis, you know? They analyze their situation so many times in their head that they become paralyzed with fear where they don't want to take any move, good or bad. They become very reactive instead of proactive.
Definitely.
But with the small business owner, what you're saying is you got to get in the game, you got to do what's happening now, not get stuck in any of those old rules.
It's growing pains is what I call it.
Yeah.
And it's, in the older days, it used to be an apprenticeship program, but now it's going through those growing pains and growing with failure. And failure is not a bad thing.
No.
It's just when you go and do it again, you're going to learn that I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to do it this way, and it's successful.
Yeah.
And maybe even if you fail that second or third or fourth time, you can't give up. You just got to keep going with your vision, your passion, and going forward.
Yeah. Well, it's so necessary in business, and there's so many lessons we just won't get until we fail ourselves. And so many of the great entrepreneurs today in our generation have had a lot more failures than successes. I know I can attest to that as well, but it's just absolutely necessary. Now, let me ask you real quick, where do you feel like technology is going? Because obviously it's changing so quickly, but where do you think the technology is going, and how do you think it's going to affect the small business owner?
I think in a small business, whether it's a small boutique or a product-driven company or even a service, if you haven't developed some type of e-commerce site or out on the internet where you can sell your product, everybody uses Visa, MasterCard, debit cards. I mean, that's where it's at. If anybody can buy something with a debit card online, that's where the market's at.
Right.
And if you can sell that product, I don't care if it's just a pair of shoes or whatever, you're going to expand your business.
Right.
Your market's a lot bigger than just that local town. You can expand it internationally if you want.
What is your thought on like bricks and mortar and retail? You think it's going to be a tough road ahead?
I don't think so. I still think that you have to have that, like in a tourist area, you have to have those shops. It's a driven thing, and I'm for that. But you have to have that what I call it, the backroom sales, and have those internet sales going on with the front of the house sales. Well,
I completely agree, and I think that again, you almost these days wake up and your house changing on a weekly or daily basis sometimes.
Definitely.
But you have to keep up. And I know one of the keys is social media, and I know that's a service that you offer. We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, I want to get your thoughts on social media, because this is something that I've been kind of thrown into recently that I'm trying to get a handle on myself. So let's take a short break, and we'll return shortly with James Parr. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm here with James Parr, entrepreneur and marketing guru. And James, I'd love your take. We were talking before the break about social media. This is one avenue that it's always been difficult for me. Most of my mentors in coming into the business world were at least twice my age. So I'm from the old school, put people in a room, books, seminars, that whole world. And social media is where it's at. I know, Ian, I've spoken with you and your wife as well, and she told me the reason I'm number one is we dominate the internet. But for somebody like me, maybe a beginner, it seems like the more social media I do, the more I have to do. And I'm sure I'm probably doing it wrong, but what are your thoughts?
Social media, it's a really driven, it actually affects sales of print ads and stuff like that, because people realize, like in real estate, they realize that they can put a listing on there and reach a large, like a real estate listing, and reach a large demographic and a large audience. In social media, it depends what network or what platform you're using. There's Facebook, there's Twitter, there's LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a great professional network that's out there, and it's great for the business of, like if I meet you or somebody in business, I go back to my office, I link up and network with that person in LinkedIn. So it's really a business oriented. It's great for networking. Facebook is great for informational stuff, and Twitter also. A lot of people go on there and try to sell something on there.
Right.
But if you could provide tips and information, let's go back to real estate. If you can provide real estate tips for buyers or sellers on your Facebook or your Twitter site on a regular basis and link them to information, that's a great resource for somebody to go to, versus, hey, I've got this and this is how much it is.
That's right.
It's really, if you can provide that information on there, it's a great thing. Social media is going to be big, big, big.
And for our viewers out there that are just new to the business world, or they're thinking about becoming entrepreneurs, what's one tip? I know obviously we have LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. There's a million things that they can get involved in. But if you could give them one tip that they really need to embrace, especially if they have limited time for their business, what would it be?
I would say marketing. A lot of people invest and put a ton of money into a restaurant, into a business, whatever it might be, and they forget about the marketing. In marketing, you want to go with an aggressive marketing company, somebody that knows the latest, follows the latest news journals, and
be informed.
Yeah, just know what to do when it comes to advertising and grabbing that consumer.
Right.
And I actually thought Jim did something really fascinating, for me at least, because a short while ago, he took that advertising and found a niche. In fact, I don't know if you want to talk about it much, but he decided to
Sure where he's going with
advertise
this.
on
Maybe.
on porta potties.
Yeah.
You know, portable toilets.
I was afraid this would come up.
Yeah.
And I just
Leave
thought,
it to the Brit.
I just thought that was fantastic. I mean,
Actually, it sounds really good when he says porta potties.
I told you
I
to
need
say
him as a
anything.
spokesperson. We worked with the PGA Tour, the Champions Tour. We
Yeah.
did all over the world, and they thought it was a great marketing thing because they took these porta potties that are usually lime green or some ugly color,
Right.
and we advertised. We made murals out of them for radio stations, for GlaxoSmith Pharmaceuticals. We did Avidart advertising. We had even a spokesman. We had Joe Theismann was our spokesperson for our porta potties.
I'll
Wow.
bet it makes them more attractive to use too.
Yeah.
Yeah, people said they felt better going in them and using them, like it was a better deal. We put Wall Street Journals in them for the golf.
Oh, sure. Well, I know that, like you said, you not only have you do small business, but you also you have some big accounts. You're doing this at the high level, so
Yeah.
you're doing some big business. If people want more information, or they say, you know what, I don't want to do it, I just want to hire that guy to do it.
Yeah.
Where can somebody get more information? Or
They can go to parmediagroup.com, and it's PAAR mediagroup.com.
Okay.
And we've got a phone number. It's 888-982-2925.
All right. And I know that, in the opening I said you started working real quick when you were 3 months old, but many people don't know you were a child actor.
Yes.
From 3 months to like 21.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's correct.
And so that was probably a big transition, but you started, I know you worked with on Beretta and Emergency, and you were in several films as well. Rockford Files, which was one of
Yeah.
my favorites growing up.
James Gardner.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
please, I know we're out of time, but please come back. I'd love,
Definitely.
You've lived such a life. You were on the SWAT team, Emergency. I mean, this is a guy that's done it all. That's our show, guys. We're out of time. And my special thanks to James Parr and also Ian Norris. And don't forget to get involved in your local community and be forgiving of others. Good night, everybody. Hi, I'm Dan Vega, and thank you for watching our channel. I want to take a second to tell you about a resource that's helping thousands of people across the country, Blue University. Blue University is the premier online business school for entrepreneurs and business leaders. You know, if you find yourself in a day-to-day grind where you've lost your joy or you're just tired of struggling, then check out blue.university. That's BLU.university. I can promise that you receive nothing short of a multi-million-dollar education. And if you want a completely different life in 3 to 6 months and a way to create wealth in 5 years or less, then again, check it out. That's BLU.university. Find out why blue is the new color of success. Also, make sure to subscribe to this channel or to give us a good rating, but that's only if you see value. And when you do receive value, make sure to share it with someone else. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.